Hello, welcome back to another What Did Wizards Do video. Do you like the title? WDWD. The WDWD series here of CovertGoBlue. It's me, it's CGB coming at you for a WDWD video. Oh god, we're gonna have to work out the intro. There's gonna be some kinks, but if Wizards is gonna keep doing stuff, I may as well keep making videos, keeping all of you in the loop with what the stuff is. And today we've got a state of the game video, but within it, for the second time this month, there is a ban announcement. They just up and banned a mythic, not with its own announcement, but from within the state of the game video. And this time they didn't even let us play with it for a week first. They banned it before it even hit the arena client. The banned cards, for those who are really just here for that, Davriel Soulbroker and Davriel's Withering have been banned in Historic Brawl. So, if you're not a Historic Brawl player and this has never really been a thing for you, then this probably rolls right off you if you're a competitive player. But the reason that these have been banned in Brawl is actually the new arena-only mechanic, Perpetually. Now, Perpetually, if you've been missing it so far on the announcements, when you give something perpetually, it sticks to the card no matter what zone it goes to. It crosses the zones, and there are a lot of things like you perpetually give a card flying. So Davriel Soulbroker and Davriel's Withering both have the line of target creature perpetually gets -1/-2, or target creature perpetually gets -3/-3. We can guess from the ban announcement that these are the only cards with this type of a negative perpetual effect that can be put on a creature. And why does this have to be banned, especially in Brawl? Because if you give a commander the -3/-3 or the -1/-2, it crosses the zones. When your commander goes back to the command zone, no matter what happens, it will always have that adjustment made to it. So if your commander only has 2 toughness, or now it has 0. So anytime you play your commander now for the rest of the game, it just immediately dies if it's been targeted by Davriel Soulbroker or Davriel's Withering and its toughness is low enough that this drops it to that 0 threshold. Keep in mind, even for larger commanders, maybe it would get hit by this effect like Davriel multiple times, and especially being on a Planeswalker, Davriel is problematic because it can be your commander in Brawl. So that's the ban announcement, and I was speculating with my chat yesterday on stream if this would happen or if they would adjust the rules of Command Zone, but now we have a sure answer at least that the Perpetual ability sticks with commanders. So now you have to re-examine cards that give things flying if you want to try Brawl, which I highly recommend Historic 100 card Brawl. That format is sweet, but basically if you can perpetually boost your commander, it keeps that even coming in and out of the command zone, which is kind of amazing. And it requires us to analyze cards with the perpetual mechanic all over again on that axis. Anyway, this all showed up in the state of the game, which we're going to go over really quick and try to cover because there is some good stuff in here. So let's see, to the top and recalibrate. For several months now, we've been working on a large-scale change to our back-end system. This won't have much of an immediate impact for players. It's a crucial step for us to ensure long-term stability for MTG Arena. Because of the size of this change, there will be a few differences that players will see with this release. First, we are planning about 4 hours of downtime. All right, guys, that's going to be coming up next week, 2 weeks, August 10th. So if you would normally play Magic during this time frame on August 10th, which I definitely do, that is definitely my recording type of time frame, there's going to be 4 hours of downtime. So keep that in mind. Good to know. Good to know. We also need to disable starting new matches about an hour before the downtime starts. Ooh, okay, so 5 hours of downtime. Sneaky. Anyway, another effect of the change is you will be unable to spend any mastery orbs from Strixhaven School of Mages after this downtime. So if you've been procrastinating on finishing your studies, now's the time. If you have mastery orbs just sitting there that you haven't bothered using, but please get in there, get it done. All right. A major impact is that we need to split the normal August 2021 ranked season into 2. An early August season running the 1st through 10th, and a late August season that runs 10th through 30th. The rank reset between these two seasons will be similar to will be smaller than normal, with Mythic players being reset to Diamond 1 and all other ranks being maintained. Both seasons will have the full normal rewards, and they will both earn entries into a qualifier weekend. The early August season will award entries to a top 500, and the late August will award entries to top 1200. What? So they have to reset Mythic. So everybody keeps their rank except the people who get to Mythic too fast, and they go back to Diamond 1 and have to do it again. What? Why? I mean, does it really matter? We've got to be honest. Does getting to Mythic like fast and stuff really matter? I will tell you who it matters for. The ultra competitive player who wants to do very well in these qualifiers and really wants to compete at the highest level someday. And the content creators who need to be able to show that we are in Mythic numbers for people to take our content more seriously. And I'm going to tell you straight up, as a person who's lived on both sides of this, from playing unranked and doing a lot of events to doing ranked, the numbers are significantly better. And the interactions with your chat, basically you have more respect when you interact with your community when you are in Mythic numbers often. Also, the Discord around you on other outlets like Reddit and things like that is much different if you are in Mythic numbers as opposed to unranked. It's just the way it frickin' is. And so, and I'm going to tell you, nothing, just a little personal note, nothing makes me more upset than saying that when people say I'm a better player than Legend on Reddit or in comments because Legend plays unranked and I play ranked, that's not true. Legend would probably kick my butt if he wanted to. Like, he's, in my opinion, a better technical player than me. And it's an example of people just looking at the unranked thing and it being like a turnoff, whereas Mythic numbers gives a different impression. Anyway, I wanted to get that in the open because that's just something that eats at me all the time. In general, I don't like it when people talk about content creators outside of their content, but it's going to happen. It's like we're the entertainment. There's a water cooler, people talk about us. But I really don't like that discourse that if Legend doesn't play ranked, he must be bad. That's not true. Anyway, Jumpstart Historic Horizons. Yeah, it's coming. Along with a billion new cards. This one in particular, Dragon's Rage Channeler, is insane. So this isn't a preview card episode, but like this card is like, oh my god, and it's an uncommon. So hey, at least people who are upset can see an uncommon and feel a little okay. Anyway, this is going to come back. It's going to be 400 gems or 2,000 gold to enter. Your wins get you a rare or mythic from Jumpstart. So it's actually now important to play the event and get the wins. God, can't we just all agree, for those of us who just want to collect, that we'll just concede alternate concessions? I'm actually dreading playing the format to acquire the rares. I think that the collection model is horrible. I can't stress that enough. I hate it. I really do hate it. Let's see. So there's a bunch of stuff about that. There's a bunch of stuff about lands being in there. There's dedicated Historic Horizons articles if you want to keep up on the spoilers from it. At this point, I don't know what the heck we're doing. Anyway, one of the key goals of JHH was to pull large chunks of Horizons and Horizons 2 into Arena and Historic. Obviously, care needed to be taken here. Tabletop sets designed for Modern will have many cards that would be too powerful when brought into Historic. No way, really. So we decided that we're not bringing in everything. Really? There are about 220 cards from those sets in the packets, alongside about 120 other new to MTG reprints and about 400 returning cards available on Arena, creating a massive card pool of more than 750 for these packets. It totally snuck up on me with the first Jumpstart how freaking huge the set was. It's not sneaking up on me now, but this is like two sets and change. This is an insane amount of cards to dump into a format. And I don't know about you guys, with a collection model that's incredibly hard and insanely expensive to collect. I mean, I'm just like, I'm going to sit back and see. I'm going to see what the historic content creators really gravitate to and maybe what the pros do, and then save up some wild cards and then maybe craft from there. Whether or not I'm going to craft a bunch of cards and play historic, somebody will have to like really sell me on a few certain cards or strategies that I really want to play. Yeah, that's what's going to take at this point. That's what's going to take. It's just too much. It's too vast for me to get my head around, and I think that's part of the frustration. Just part of it, but part of the frustration people have with this release. It's so much. Anyway, we're adding these to bring in support for many new archetypes. We've revealed that there are ninjas and slivers, and if those are things that you really want to play, then you know exactly what decks or what packs in Jumpstart to spam to get them, so that helps, I suppose. But anyway, Bounty of the Deep. It's not all reprints. 31 all new cards for coming to Magic, but only in digital because they use these abilities. And we talked about these mechanics on a previous video. We talked about them at the start of this video. This is a pretty wild Hearthstone the Gathering that they're getting into. And it's also insanely controversial because a lot of people don't want there to be Magic cards that are digital only. They just would prefer that not be a thing. They want the ability, or at least the thought, that someday they could play and collect these cards in paper. And when you can't, it gets to you. And anyway, all this with Jumpstart Historic Horizons is kind of crazy. Anyway, Prophetic Titan, it says, it expands the historic format in many new ways, new cards, new mechanics, new digital-only possibilities. A lot of Magic's recent growth has come from building great new products for specific groups of players. We're excited to explore more of what we can do for digital-first players. If you get tilted by the concept of this product is not for you, if you want to be able to say, I'm a Magic player and have that really apply to the entire game, it sounds like that's going to be harder to do going forward. And while most of the time people are like, I play Commander, people are like, what's your Commander? This is my Commander. And people are like, okay, I get you, what you're about. What formats do you play? I play Standard. What formats do you play? I play Modern. That has always kind of been a thing. So maybe some days you're going to walk up to somebody, meet somebody at a Magic convention. They say, I'm an Arena player and I play Historic. And you're going to be like, oh, dang. Oh, man, I play Legacy with a little bit of Vintage. But you, holy crap, that's a baller, man. That's so, wow. Anyhow, I just picture what that's going to be like someday. It'd be pretty funny. All right, so what else we got here? They did some talk shows, stirring address. Now on to what you've been waiting for. With this release, we are adding a 100 card historic Brawl queue. That's it. That's the update. No, it's not. That's a meme that you stole from the internet to try to make it hype. But there's more to it than that, as we already covered a little bit, that they had to pre-ban some cards. But there you go. Remember that Historic Brawl Festival, the 100 card version? It was awesome. This is as close as Commander is going to be on Arena. Will they ever have multiplayer for it? I don't know. Maybe they'll say something down here. I think the odds of that are very low. But I think that what I said after playing Historic Brawl and making Historic Brawl videos for a week and talking about it on our podcast, the Arena Craft podcast, by the way, I think it really is the future of maybe not competitive Magic, but like Magic as a pastime. Like, it is a sweet format. It is 100% a sweet format filled with powerful cards. You're not sacrificing power. Exploring more of the catalog than you usually could, and just getting more play out of these amazing mythics and legendaries. Like we have here the First Sliver and Yawgmoth Thran Physician, some absolutely epic commanders. So will the channel have 100 card Historic Brawl content? I'm sure it will. When there isn't a festival, I'm not sure how often to do it. So I'm really curious. I know a lot of my newest fans have found the channel through the Historic Brawl content, and they keep asking me for more. I know there will be some. I don't know how much is too much. Let me know your opinions. If you got some in chat, I'd love to know how much Historic Brawl we should be playing. But there's definitely times in every format where I'm like, best of one Historic really isn't for me. It feels like too, I don't know. It feels too self-determined. Like on turn one, I usually feel like at the end of whoever goes first, at the end of their turn, I feel like I know who's going to win the game. Like, that's the way it feels to me. Historic Brawl isn't like that. There's very powerful back-forths, comebacks, very interesting gameplay. So maybe that'll be what I switch to if Standard ever gets me down. Anyway, let's see what all they say about Historic Brawl. We've been pleased with the performance that we've seen from our recent Historic Brawl events. It's clear that there is a small but dedicated audience that is interested to keep playing this format. A small but dedicated. Really? Are we a small? I mean, just looking at the views and the interaction I've had since the format was out, small, maybe to them, I feel attacked. We also saw a good response to our recent experiment with 100 card Historic Brawl events, and Historic Brawl will now default to being 100 card wherever it is whenever it is offered. So guys, rip to 60 card Historic Brawl. It looks like they're done with it, but maybe that means they'll make the 100 card Historic Brawl format something that you can direct challenge on Arena, because it wasn't that way last time. That's why we didn't have our showdown with my podcast co-host. Like we do with Standard Brawl, we will be using a matchmaking system that takes into account the power level of your commander to help ensure that matches are fairer and more fun for both players. They actually do this in Standard, even on Ladder too. There is a behind-the-scenes algorithm in the matchmaker that pairs you with decks that they think would be a good or bad, depending how you want to look at it, how conspiratorial you want to get for your deck. So this isn't a new thing, but it does mean that you can enter the queue with commanders that might be a little jankier, a little sillier, and you'll get paired against, somebody who's playing another janky, silly commander, and you'll have a good time. But that also means if they're weighting your commander as part of the matchmaking algorithm, that also means that if you play a powerful commander like Kinnan, but you play a janky build, like I'm not playing like all the broken stuff in Kinnan. I'm playing a more kind of janky, silly me version. It means you're probably going to get paired against really powerful commanders and have a bad time. So it's important that if you play powered commanders, you play good lists. So hopefully some content creators can help with that to the extent that we can. Anyway, speaking of fair, some perpetual effects, especially toughness reduction, can basically shut down an opponent's commander. Locking out a commander is why Meddling Mage and Sorcerer Spyglass are banned in Brawl. So we're taking a similar approach with some perpetual cards. We're starting with banning both Davriel's Withering and Davriel's Soulbroker in Historic Brawl, and we'll be keeping an eye on the rest of the effects in Historic Brawl. There's a hint right there, guys. Big hint. Some of these perpetual cards might be busted with commanders, and finding what those are, I think, is going to be a really fun part of this new format launch, so to speak. And maybe what Jumpstart Historic Horizons is best set to do. Obviously, they want to sell Jumpstart Historic Horizons, but if you're like me and you don't want to play Jumpstart, this is probably what this set is for. Not for necessarily redefining Historic, although like the super spiky Historic Mages will dig into that. I just think that basically I think in a way they've ended the grinders, and this could be for a good thing. It's not going to be good for some of you, but they may have ended the spiky grinders attachment to Historic, because it just, they may have priced them out of the format, because crafting playsets or collecting playsets of these is so hard. It's so insanely expensive, and it, in many ways, it just doesn't work, because if you buy packs to get wildcards, to get enough wildcards, you buy all these packs, you're not even getting anything in the packs anymore. You're getting like 20 gems. They may have just priced the extreme grinder spikes who are always trying to break formats completely out of Historic, which some people would say that might be a good thing, because Historic could be more fun if people aren't spiking it as hard. It also will benefit specialists, people who have like one deck that they love, and it gets one or two new cards in Horizons. They can craft those without breaking their bank, and then they can spam that deck. So on that sense, the Historic Horizons might be really good for you. And then the other spot where I think Historic Horizons hits right, Commander. Commander, now we call it Historic Brawl, 100 cards. It's going to be a full-time queue. There's a lot of one-ofs that I look at and I'm like, this is not for competitive play, so I don't know what it's doing in this set. And then now we say, wait, we get a 100-card Historic Brawl queue full-time, and you're like, oh, bingo. I get one of these, and I can play it as my commander or throw it in my Brawl deck, and that's going to be fun. And that makes the whole 750 card, even the nonsense like arena only part of the cards, it makes it all a little more palpable if there's just kind of a fun casual way to do it that doesn't cost you too much. You just craft one, or you open it in your Jumpstart play and you're done. That, I think, is where the set makes sense, and I can see now a lot people are very frustrated and upset with the places that model doesn't make sense. Because yeah, competitive historic grinders, I don't know how they're going to collect this set. it takes a maniac. Anyway, this queue will be up at least until rotation this September while we monitor how interest and play volume hold up for the format. All right, they've put it out there. They're going to take it away from us if we don't play it. Our goal is to leave it up if it can remain healthy and provide enough population for rapid, fair pairing. If you want permanent historic Brawl, play it. There, I put it in a YouTube video on my channel. All you subscribers, you hear from me right now. You hear what I'm saying. You hear what they're saying. If you want historic Brawl permanently, play it. So I'll try to do my part. I think for the next month after this releases, I'll try to get out a good number of historic Brawl videos to try to raise the popularity of the format and get more people to try it, and try to put out some sweet deck lists that you guys can enjoy. And do your part, play it, talk about it, get your friends to play it, because honestly, I think that it's a better format than a lot of what's going on in Magic right now. I think it's where card design is leaning, if you look at paper card design. And I think that for a lot of the cards being designed for Jumpstart Historic Horizons, I think it's really built for this as well. For 100 card singleton, not for competitive historic. I think that competitive historic might just be nonsense. Might just be donezo. Anyway, we will continue to offer the standard Brawl queue as normal. It will stay a 60 card format. Also, if you've been worried about Command Tower and Arcane Signet rotating out of standard Brawl in September because they were part of Eldraine, the Eldraine Brawl decks, fear not, we're going to make sure those staple cards stay legal in standard Brawl on Arena. How do they do that? Maybe they'll reprint them in the Brawl decks that come out with Innistrad. That would be the easiest way. They also have a set of cards that they just keep legal because they're in the starter decks. Maybe they'll add them to that set somehow. But that's interesting that they're just deciding to keep Command Tower and Arcane Signet. What about Tome of Legends? That's been one of my favorite cards from that particular release. I want that back. I want Tome of Legends back. Anyway, Graceful Restoration. Really? Graceful? It's meant to be chaotic. It's meant to be ugly. Let's smash. Get it done. Anyway, rotation is coming with the release of Innistrad Midnight Haunt. You are going to lose 4 sets. I think we know most of this at this point if you play a lot, but this information is useful if this is your first rotation, you're not sure when rotation is, and especially if you're trying to think about what decks to make right now. I've been playing almost exclusively Standard 2022 since that queue came out. Any of the deck lists that you take from my YouTube channel where I play Standard 2022 will still be legal in September. And of course, we'll get new cards from Innistrad. So keep that in mind as you're checking out the decks. So there's going to be an in-game pop-up, yay. You'll have some fun renewal surprises to enjoy when Innistrad Midnight Hunt lands in September, probably be a cosmetic or something. We'll be adding notifications when buying packs or crafting cards from sets that will be rotating. You may have already seen that, but try to keep people from crafting stuff they can't use. We'll be adding the updated new player decks to all accounts. So you might see some new player stuff just pop up in your account randomly. Don't be alarmed. It's actually free, which there aren't many things that are free about Arena, so there's one. Anyway, cleanup step. As you can see, there's a lot happening with the next release. Indeed, we're going through all this, the setup on August 10th, so mark your calendar. There will be downtime that day, so don't be surprised when you can't play for a certain amount of time. I'll have to make some changes to my schedule to keep the streak alive. No big deal, though. There's an MTG Arena status page to keep you informed. Let's see what they say right now. All systems operational. Hallelujah. And there you go. That is the state of the game. 2 cards banned. A new format being introduced. We'll have it available at least until rotation. If you like it, play it. And other than that, Jumpstart Historic Horizons. All the controversy, all the nonsense. But hopefully we can enjoy what's good about it. And hopefully the pain of what's bad about it doesn't hit too hard. So good luck. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. You're cool.